Okay, I've finished the head. Both ears are finished now and the neck is finished. Let's put this in the oven. 10 minutes, 275 degrees, and then we'll do hair. Alright, we're out of the oven and all went well. We're ready to paint. The painting we'll do will be done with acrylic paint, and I generally just use 3 colors. The colors I like to use are burnt umber. We only need a drop of that. Burnt sienna, solid black, in this case it's called Mars black, and the white that I use is unbleached titanium. I've found that the unbleached titanium, which is more of a creamy white or off-white, works so much better for doing the colors on humans. Alright, first thing we'll do is flood this entire face and do a wash. I'll use the raw umber and get a nice wet palette. A very wet palette. With the wet palette, I'll paint the entire face. After I've painted, I'll start by painting half of the face and then do the other half. After I've painted half of the face, before this has a tendency to dry, I'll rub it in like this with my thumb. And acrylic paint, as you know, dries very fast. So I'll just rub this in, continuing to rub as it dries until it's dry. Then I'll do the other half. The reason for doing the patina over the top is not only to give it a little better color, but to antique into the crevices and the little marks left by the tool and the horsehair brush, just to give it a more realism and lifelike look. Let's get this down into the ears, do the neck. We won't worry so much about the top of the head because we'll be putting hair on, so we won't bother so much with that. Alright, there we are. The patina covers it nicely and it gives it more of a rich, full look. Then from there, we'll use a smaller brush, and in this case I'll use black, Mars black, and a very dark brown. Use the raw sienna or burnt umber, either one, mix it in with the black, and paint under the upper eyelid. By painting up under the eyelid, as we have just done, it gives it a little bit of a shadow. Now I'll paint the lips. The color that I have chosen to do lips with on both the Caucasians and on the blacks is burnt sienna. Now use burnt sienna and mix that with unbleached titanium to give a nice lip color. Now that we have the lips softened a little bit with the flesh tone, now I'll mix in a darker burnt sienna into the same titanium white, just a little darker, and now put a lip line. After I have that lip line on, Now I'll soften the two lines together. Blend them together so the lighter pink blends in nicely to the lip color, the shadow line. Okay, it's a very natural looking lip now. On some blacks and on indents, you may wish to put a darker lip color. I'll do one here just to show you what I mean. We'll use a little of the burnt umber, mix that with a little burnt sienna to get a darker color, and we might put this on the upper lip. Now that we've painted the lip, we can soften the lip and put some more color into the face by using a powder. Now the powder I use is China paint. It doesn't take much, just a little tiny bit of powder from the China paint bottle. Now I mix into that just with a dry brush. There's no moisture, no water, no oil, just a dry brush. I'll brush this behind the eyes to give it a little natural shadow. Now I'll put a little of that same powder on the lips to soften them. Now we'll use a red powder, again China paint, and it doesn't take much. The powder now will go on the cheeks, a little on the forehead, a little on the lips and the chin and the nose, a little on the ears. The next thing we'll do is paint the teeth. To paint the teeth, I'll use a little white acrylic mixture called Gallery Glass. It's called Crystal Clear by Gallery Glass. You can buy this at Michael's, or most craft stores will carry it. A tiny, tiny bit goes a long ways. Since it's a water-soluble mixture, we can mix it with a little water, thin it down, and then paint the teeth. Now it's going on kind of milky, but by the time it dries, it will be a nice crystal clear. I'm also painting the tongue and the lips. Although it will be shiny, it won't be startling. It gets almost a matte gloss. That's about all the painting we do to the face. Okay, we're painted. We're now ready for hair. Hair is kind of the fun part because it brings the doll to life. Now, since I'm doing a black man, I'm going to use a hair that we found when we did the Bob Marley doll for his mother. And Bob Marley, as you might remember, was the reggae singer who wore dreadlocks. And to get the dreadlock look, we had to use the natural goat, and we found one that had a very, very tight curl and also the color of a black man about the age of Bob Marley. So we've used this now ever since. We just love it. We're going to do a short haircut on this character. To do that, I'm going to trim away just a short cropping of hair. I'll just cut it back. It's only about, maybe 1/16 of an inch long, each of these cuts. In using the natural mohair or wool, we get the natural coloring. If you use an acrylic hair, several things are wrong with the acrylic. One, it won't be a natural color. Two, the texture won't be accurate. And three, the scale will be wrong. So I highly recommend you use mohair on all of your dolls or wool. In some cases, wool works just fine. Now that we've cut the hair into a short pile, real short cropped hair, we'll use the glue. The glue we use is Fabri-Tac glue. You can buy this at most any of your fabric stores. Michael's carries it, Joann's Fabric carries it. We put this on everywhere we want the hair to be in this case. So I put it on first, right where the hair grows. I'm only going to do a half at a time. So that hair is on. Now I take the short cropping hair and patty cake this into the glue. Don't let the glue come through the hair. Stop just short of it coming through. Now a certain amount of this will fall out as we style the hair later, but we don't care about that. Then we'll give it a little haircut. Now the haircut we give it is just a slight trim around the ears, trim around the base of the neck, patting it down and trimming it until it's a nice consistency and a smooth round cut. The next is hands. Hands become exceptionally fun to do. They're articulate and they do make the difference between a beginning and a professional doll maker. I have some rules of thumb that I like to use, and I'll show them to you if I may. I call them rules of thumbs because they will vary on different people. However, they're very accurate and quite close, so if you'll use this rule of thumb, it will work for you. The first rule of thumb is the one I call 10 fingers. The inside middle finger is the same length as the base of the palm of your hand, from the carpal bone to the base of that finger. It's also the same width as the width of your hand. It's also the same as the back of your hand from the carpal bone to the middle knuckle. It's also the same as from the bottom of your chin to the bottom of your nose, and from the bottom of your nose to the hairline, or rather the eyebrow, and from the eyebrow to the hairline. It's also the same as your ear, and the same as the width of your face from the center of your nose to the side of your cheek. It's also the same as the width of your foot. Now I'll go through those rapidly. The same as the inside middle finger as the palm of the hand. Same as the width of the hand. Same as the back of the hand from the carpal bone to the middle knuckle. Same as the lower 1/3, the middle 1/3, and the upper 1/3 of your face. Same as your ear. Same as the width of your face, and the same as the width of your foot. That'll really help. Okay, we're going to make an armature. The armature that we'll make for the hand will be made of 5 copper wires. The length of the copper wires is 3 inches each. The gauge is 16 gauge. Put the 5 copper wires together, and then we'll insert those into a brass tube. The brass tube is a little over 1 inch long, and it's 3/16 inch in diameter. Slip the tube over the brass wires, thusly. Now, with a crimper, now this crimper is an electrician's tool. We'll crimp the wires tightly so the wires are locked inside the tube. Now we turn the tube 90 degrees and we crimp it again. This locks the wires nice and tight in the tube. Then we bend one wire down at a 45-degree angle. This becomes the thumb. Bend the little finger down, then the index finger, the middle finger, and the ring finger. Bend these until they're the shape of a hand. Next, we'll use a strip of aluminum tape. This aluminum tape can be purchased at any hardware store. Peel off the back and use the aluminum tape. It's like duct tape, only it's aluminum. We lay this down tight into the web of the hand. Cover the first 4 fingers and wrap this around the back, sealing it together with the 4 fingers. Now wrap the other piece over and fold that down to fit tightly over the 4 fingers. Now with your ear tool, we'll press down in between the fingers to make the webbing quite even between the 4 fingers and the thumb. All right, it's now wrapped with aluminum foil and is very strong.